Have you ever let a single moment of anger steal your entire day? One sharp word, one disrespectful look, and suddenly your emotions take the wheel, steering you far from the man you want to be. What if the key to peace wasn't found in suppressing anger but in mastering your response to it? If you've ever replayed an insult in your mind for hours, snapped at someone over nothing, or felt hijacked by emotions you couldn't control, know this: you're not weak, you're not broken, you're just running a program that was never designed to help you win. The Stoics believed that the true battlefield isn't out there, it's in your own mind. It's not your circumstances, not other people, not even what they say or do. It's how you respond. Power, they said, doesn't lie in shouting louder or reacting faster. It lies in stillness, in choosing calm when chaos invites you in refusing to hand your peace over to someone who never earned it. This video will show you how to do exactly that, not by bottling up your emotions or pretending nothing bothers you, but by rewiring the way you respond. You'll learn practical Stoic strategies to help you pause before reacting, detach from drama, and reclaim your emotional authority like a warrior of the mind. Let's be clear, every man has felt the heat of anger. Every man has been disrespected, but only a few ever rise above the storm, and that's what separates those who react from those who lead. So if you're tired of letting people pull you out of character, if you're done letting small things hijack your entire energy, if you're ready to take back control, then this is for you. Hit like, subscribe for more Stoic strategies, and share this with someone who needs to reclaim their inner calm, because once you understand Stoicism, you don't just manage anger, you become untouchable, and that changes everything. 1. Reframe. Emotional outbursts as habits, not identity. You weren't born angry. You weren't born slamming doors, clenching your fists in traffic, or replaying tense conversations in your head like a broken record. That's not who you are. That's who you learn to be. Those reactions, the quick snap, the sharp tone, the urge to lash out aren't natural instincts. They're habits. Habits picked up from stress, ego, pride, and a culture that tells men to be tough, loud, dominant. But here's the thing. Real strength doesn't raise its voice. It lowers it. True power isn't in control of others. It's in control of yourself. The most powerful man in the room is the one who doesn't flinch, who doesn't bark back, who doesn't let petty things disturb his inner peace. And that kind of power, it starts by seeing anger for what it truly is, not a feeling, but a cycle. A chain reaction you've been feeding without knowing. Someone cuts you off on the freeway. Your boss talks down to you in front of the team. Your partner says something passive-aggressive, and before your brain catches up, your mouth fires. That's the loop, the trap, and most men never break out of it. They wear it like identity. That's just how I am. But the Stoics saw it differently. They didn't see anger as personality. They saw it as weakness. A lack of discipline disguised as masculinity. Epictetus once said, "Any person capable of anger is a slave to it." Harsh, maybe, but think about it. When you react blindly, when someone can push your buttons and get a rise, you've given them your power. You become predictable, manipulatable, emotionally drained. Now imagine this. You're standing at the DMV. You've been waiting an hour. Someone casually cuts in line, bold as ever. Your chest tightens, jaw clenches. That old reflex rises, but instead of barking back, you pause. You ask yourself a simple question. Will getting angry fix this? You know the answer. You've lived the aftermath. That moment right there is the battlefield. And that pause, that's your weapon. Coming up next, we'll break down exactly how to interrupt that emotional chain reaction and rewire the habits that keep you stuck in the anger loop. Let's turn that moment of heat into a moment of mastery. Just moments ago, we uncovered how anger steals your power and widens the gap between who you are and who you want to be. Now, Let's explore how Stoicism offers a clear and powerful alternative. You've lashed out before, maybe, in traffic, at work, or in a heated conversation. And what came of it? More stress, more regret, and more distance between you and the man you aspire to become. This is where Stoicism changes everything. It doesn't teach you to bury your feelings. Instead, it shows you how to step outside them. Picture your emotions as clouds drifting across the sky. You notice them, but you don't let them hijack your mind. You acknowledge their presence, but you don't let them drive the car. The rational self is the driver. That's the power cultivated by Stoic discipline. Far too many men live believing that anger proves they care, or that holding it in means weakness or indifference. But nothing could be further from the truth, because anyone can explode. That's easy. What's hard, what demands discipline, maturity, and real backbones, maintaining composure when the world is trying to shake you, when someone disrespects you, but you don't give them the satisfaction of seeing you flinch. That's true dominance. When life throws chaos in your direction, and you remain anchored, that's true control. So what do you do the next time anger flares in your chest? 1. Pause. 2. Breathe. 3. Tell yourself, this anger isn't who I am, it's a habit I don't have to carry. 4. Then walk away, not because you're weak, but because you're stronger than the compulsion to react. That's how you reclaim power, not by changing what's happening around you, but by choosing how you respond. You respond like a man who owns his mind, like a Stoic. Point 2. Self-control, not control. Over others. Exploding to regain control by silencing someone else or leaving out of anger is the easy, immature route. Most men take it when they feel disrespected, but that kind of power is fleeting. It burns bright and fades fast, leaving you emotionally drained and disconnected. True control doesn't come from dominating others. It comes from mastering yourself in the heat of the moment. Anger whispers lies. If you don't speak up now, you're weak. If someone pushes you, you must push back louder. Silence equals surrender. But look at reality. How many times has losing your cool actually solved anything? You shout, they shout louder. You win the argument, but lose sleep over the words you regret. You prove your point, but lose the relationship. In the end, you weren't in control. You were hiding behind reaction. 3. A real life test. The office criticism. Imagine this. You're in a meeting, and your manager unfairly, even arrogantly criticizes your idea in front of the whole team. You feel your blood boil. You want to strike back, defend your honor, shut him down, but something holds you back. A quiet inner voice whispers, if I respond now, I'll make this worse. Instead of exploding, you pause, you take a breath, and you walk away for the moment. You protect your state of mind. You refuse to be hijacked. You choose inner peace over immediate retaliation. Later, when the moment has passed, you address the situation calmly. You explain your idea. You ask clarifying questions. You reinforce respect with reason, not rage. That is emotional mastery. Where are we heading next? So far, we've learned how Stoic calm restores your power. Next, we'll dive into the simple tools and exercises that help you build this mastery step by step, starting today. Just now, we saw how choosing calm over chaos gives you power no one else can touch. Now let's put that into action with how you respond when the stakes are high. You say, thanks for the feedback, I'll revisit it, and you move on. Later, in private, you revisit it with clarity, not emotion. That is control. That is strength. And that is Stoic. Marcus Aurelius nailed it when he said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Stoics didn't let pride dominate. They chose response over reaction, clarity over chaos. They knew what many men still miss. You can't control others, but you can control how you show up. Here's the mistake most men make. They equate silence with weakness, and walking away with cowardice. But think, When someone lost their cool in front of you, did that person feel powerful or look weaker? Rage is loud, but respect is quiet. When you stay calm in the face of provocation, you become untouchable. And that unnerves people much more than shouting ever could. Important note: the Stoic path doesn't demand silence forever. It means you choose when to speak on your own terms, not dictated by your anger. You learn to delay your reaction, let the heat dissipate, and create space. In that space, you gain wisdom. You make better choices. You keep your self-respect intact. Next time someone pushes your buttons, don't bite. Let them act small. You stay solid, not out of fear, but out of choice. You rise above, not for them, but for yourself. That's what real control looks like. It's not about winning the argument or having the last word. It's about holding the last piece of power. 3. Build calm. Like a muscle through daily practice. Can't expect to stay grounded when chaos strikes if you've never trained your inner calm. Most men only try to stay cool after they've lost it, when disrespect or stress has already broken them. But emotional resilience doesn't show up on demand. It must be trained, earned, built in the quiet moments no one notices. Just like muscles don't grow without consistent gym workouts. Emotional strength won't develop unless you practice pausing, breathing, and sitting in discomfort daily. Self-mastery isn't a switch you flip, it's a skill you forge. Picture this: a guy who's never trained tries to lift 300 pounds and gets crushed. It's not that he's weak, it's that he's untrained. The same applies to your emotions. Without mental training, the first time life hits you hard, you fold. Not because you're weak, but because you're unprepared. Imagine this. You get home after a long, grueling day. Your kid knocks over a juice cup right onto your laptop. Your instinct screams yell. But instead, something inside clicks. You've practiced this. Instead of reacting, you pause. You breathe. You say slowly, "Let's clean it up," and calmly guide the cleanup. That moment, that's mental strength. That's emotional muscle. And it's built every time you pause and choose response over rage. What we'll explore next is specific training, simple tools, and daily exercises to train your mind, build resilience, and make calm your default, even when life tests you hardest. Previously, we learned that every small moment of calm is a rep of strength, training our emotional resilience one pause at a time. Now comes the secret. That's exactly how Stoicism was built, not in isolation, but in the trenches of real life. That moment feels small, but it isn't. It's not just another pause. It's a deliberate active rep in the gym of your mind. Each time you choose composure in minor moments, you're preparing your mind and spirit for the much bigger storms ahead. Stoicism isn't ancient wisdom, reserved for monks on mountaintops or distant scholars in libraries. It emerged in sweaty barracks, crowded streets, crowded homes, real places filled with soldiers, leaders, workers, fathers, people living amidst constant noise, pressure, and conflict. Its purpose wasn't to isolate it, was to empower people to find peace inside the storm, and that peace is built, rep by rep, moment by moment. Build strength through ritual. Do you wake up early, if it hurts, to sit quietly and reflect on your day? Do you journal your thoughts before you sleep, so your mind can rest peacefully? Do you choose silence, not sarcasm, when someone frustrates you? These are not empty rituals. They're workouts for the soul, a form of inner discipline, and each one repays a return far greater than the effort spent. Yet the mistake many men make: they wait for the fire to prove they're ready. They wait to see if they can remain calm when under siege, assuming they'll be able to when it happens. That's not how muscle works. Athletes don't wait for the championship to practice, they train for the championship. Emotionally, we must do the same. You build your mental clarity through deliberate routines. Meditate for focus practice. Mindful breathing. Reflect on your journal. Before bed, these small choices sharpen your self-control, steady your nerves, and increase awareness. So when chaos hits, you don't scrambly whacked with grounded calm. You don't rise to the occasion. You crave it, because you're ready. Learn from the ancients. Small steps, lasting strength. Marcus Aurelius, at the peak of power, wrote daily about what triggered him, what shook him, and how to improve tomorrow. Not because he was weak, but because he understood that strength is built, not granted. Epictetus, a man once enslaved, became free through self-discipline. He taught that real power lies in controlling our own minds and emotions, just once in a lifetime, but every single day. They didn't wait for grand tests. They trained in the mundane, the daily micro-decisions that shape character and resilience. Turn small moments into emotional weightlifting. You want to no longer be that guy who loses control when life throws a cook. Start preparing before the storm emerges. Sit with discomfort, don't shut down or scroll notice the tension in your breath when insult arises, and calm it. Reflect at night, even if just for 5 minutes, on what you did well and where you reacted. These habits are like reps in emotional weightlifting. They don't look impressive individually, but over time, they forge unbreakable mental strength. You won't wake up a stoic. You won't remove all flaws overnight, but with consistency, you can train your mind to pause before it reacts, to choose before it blurts, and to stand tall when others crumble. When the storm hits, your training shows developing this muscle means you don't flinch when others shout or criticize because you're prepared. You don't crumble when plans unravel. You adapt. You don't react when provoked. You pause each time. You respond with calm. You're reinforcing mental pathways of stability and control. Let go of what you can't control. Start your day with confidence. Only for traffic to jam, emails to flood, meetings to shift, and frustration rising fast. That tightness in your chest. It's not chaos, it's your resistance to change. You're not upset because things changed. You're upset because you believed they wouldn't. But life never waits for your permission. It doesn't care about your plans. Holding on to expectations isn't strength, it's attachment. And unchecked attachment is suffering. Letting go isn't defeat, it's freedom. It's wisdom that says, I'll adapt. I'll pivot. I'm okay even when things go sideways. Mastering this mindset means identifying what's truly within your control and what isn't, learning to open your hand when reality shifts, embracing flexibility while staying true to your core. No matter how tightly you grip, life slips through. The Stoics realized this long ago and found peace not by avoiding change, but by accepting it, ready for the next level. What we've covered are foundational reps, moments of calm, daily routines, detachment from expectations. Next, we'll take it deeper. Real-time tools to pause before reaction, how to respond with clarity in conflict, and how to anchor. Calm when pressure hits. Stay tuned. The real transformation is about to begin. Just now, we discovered how letting go of things outside your control preserves your energy and focus. Now let's go further. How to turn conflict into a test of inner strength. No one worth becoming keeps wasting mental energy on traffic jams, rude drivers, or plans changing at the last minute. Instead, they save that energy for what they can shape: their character, their mindset, their responses. So when something disrupts your plans or your mood, don't rush to react. Step back, pause, ask yourself, is this in my control? If the answer is no, don't fuel the fire with your attention. Let it pass like an angry storm. You're not ignoring reality. You're choosing not to drown in it. That's not discipline. Don't force the world, adapt to it. Most men mistakenly believe control means pushing the world to fit their schedule, expectations, or emotions. They think peace is earned by making everything aligned with their plan. But real control is not about making the world obey. It's about staying calm even when it doesn't. Stoicism isn't passive. It's precise. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop wasting emotional energy on what you can't change. That shift frees up your strength, your best energy, for what truly matters. The parking lot test. Picture this. You're in a crowded parking lot. A stranger backs into your car, leaving a dent and doesn't even apologize. He shrugs, like it's no big deal. In that moment, you feel the urge to erupt. You want justice. You want him to feel the heat. But then the training kicks in. You pause, you ask, will raging at him fix the dent? Will it make him care more? No, so you let it go. You handled the paperwork. You stay calm. You protect your energy. And then you walk away not with a full day of anger but with your dignity intact. That right there is the win. Not because you let him off easy, but because you refuse to let him steal more than a piece of metal from you. He didn't get your night. He didn't get your rest. He didn't get your peace. Every time you let go of what isn't worth holding, you build true control. Stoic strength doesn't shout. It doesn't cling. It releases. And in that releasing it flourishes. Ask yourself, what should you carry? Start asking yourself more frequently, is this mine to carry? If it's not worth holding, because the man who knows what to carry and what to drop doesn't get angry in every storm. He walks through it calm, clear, and unshaken. And that man, not circumstance, noise, or change, remains in control. Turn conflict into emotional strength. Building conflict is unavoidable. If you're alive, working, building something real, interacting with others, you will face misunderstanding, negativity, pressure, or opposition. Most men approach conflict as if it's a war. They tense up, raise their voice, and aim to overpower. Others, they assume it's a threat to their pride or an opportunity to win proof of their dominance. But conflict isn't a threat. It's a mirror. It reflects where you're still weak, where your ego is still tied to the judgment of others, where your emotions can derail you. It's proof of where your control is still not yours. The Stoics trained themselves to treat every insult, confrontation, or unfair moment not as a crisis but as practice. Each challenge is a rep for the mind. The hardware store scenario. Picture this. You're standing in line at the hardware store. You've waited patiently. Then someone rudely pushes in, waves their receipt, and demands immediate service. Your heart races. Your jaw tightens. You feel like exploding, but you don't. You pause. Internally, you ask yourself, what's really at risk? My time, my ego, or my peace? When you see there's no real threat, not life or death, you choose not to react. You hold your ground. You take your place in line. You show no emotional wreckage, no sign of aggression. You're not ignoring the situation, but you're rising above it. You're refusing to hand over your power to someone else's disrespect. In that moment, you don't just react, you respond. The real victory. Conflict doesn't have to be a battlefield. When you view it as an opportunity, a test of your discipline, you win by not losing control. Walk away from the loud reactions and emotional storms. Instead, pause, breathe, choose your response. Because the man who can resolve conflict without losing himself commands respect. He walks away, not only unbroken, but stronger. Coming next, specific tactics to rehearse these responses in real time. Ways to train your mind before life tests it. Ready for that? Continuing from our last section, we explored how conflict can actually build inner strength when faced with the right mindset. Now, let's go deeper into what it really means to remain composed when provoked, and how that transforms confrontation into a path of self-mastery. You feel the words ready to spill out, up, reactive, but then you choose not to roll over. Instead, you rise above. That's not weakness. That's power with precision. Many men make the mistake of thinking that staying calm means surrender, that not reacting means you're letting people walk all over you. But here's the twist. Letting anger hijack you is what actually gives your power away. A true Stoic doesn't avoid confrontation. He simply refuses to let it control him. He speaks, but not with fire. He speaks with clarity, because he knows nothing costs more than lowering yourself to match someone's disrespect. Think about it this way. Every challenge becomes less about who's right and more about who's in control. Each test strengthens your composure. Conflict transforms from battlefield into gym. When you stop wasting time and energy on pointless arguments. When you refuse to let small people shrink your world, you start using each stressful moment to grow stronger. The high stakes of calm composure. Marcus Aurelius lived this truth every day. He ruled an empire. He faced betrayal. He waged war. He navigated politics. And yet, he chose stillness above vengeance. He didn't chase anger, he chased integrity, because he knew every interaction is a chance to practice self-mastery, not occasionally, but daily. The men who live this way don't just survive conflict, they walk through it unchanged, untouchable. The next time someone pushes your buttons, here's your game plan. Instead of snapping back, say nothing. Instead of needing to prove a point, guard your energy. Instead of letting their chaos become yours, become the calm they cannot reach. Not to look good, not to be popular, but because you've trained your mind to rise above what's not worth falling for. You're not in the world to react to every insult, you're here to sharpen your edge. And every moment of conflict is a chance to do exactly that. Respond with control. That's how you win. Because each time you hold firm, you prove something far greater than dominance. You prove you've mastered the toughest battlefield of all, yourself. Stay present. Don't let your mind hijack you. One of the most overlooked truths about anger is this: it rarely arises from the moment itself. It blooms in your mind when you spiral into imagined insults or relive old grudges. If you don't stop those thoughts, you'll lose control of it in the present. Let's be honest, how often do you get cut off in traffic and then spend the next 30 minutes replaying it? You picture confronting the driver, yelling, putting him in his place. Meanwhile, that fleeting moment follows you into work, dinner, even your pillow at night. The offense happened once, but your mind drags it around like a heavy chain. That's how tiny moments become huge burdens. The Stoics would cut through that mental clutter like a blade. They taught that you only ever have the present moment. There is no past insult still happening, no imagined future outcome. There is only now, breath, action, choice. Marcus Aurelius trained himself constantly to snap back to the present. Whenever his thoughts drifted into worry or resentment, he reminded himself, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. That mindset brings clarity. It cuts through the noise. It forces your attention into the only moment that matters, the moment you control. Practical mental reset in real time. So what does that look like when you feel your temper rising? Recognize the trigger. You feel your chest tighten. You're blaming someone. Pause. Stop the chain of thoughts before it spirals. Breathe. Take a slow, deep breath. Feel the air fill your lungs. Anchor to the present. Use a phrase like, this is just traffic. This is just noise. Choose your response. Speak if necessary with calm authority, not anger. Or stay silent. Your silence can say more than words. Each time you do this, you're reinforcing the muscles of your mind. Not in theory, but in real time. That's where emotional resilience is forged. Transform conflict into a daily drillage. Challenge becomes a drill. Each frustration an opportunity to confirm you still lead yourself. Every chaos-filled moment becomes a chance to prove to yourself that you won't be undone. Letting go, staying present, controlling your responses. These aren't passive moves. They're precise, intentional actions. They refine your character with consistency. Over time, they build an unshakable fortress of calm that not only protects your peace but demonstrates your mastery. Connection to next section. In our next part, we'll dive into concrete exercises, mini mental workouts. Strengthen these habits. Think of them as reps you can practice daily. So when real stress hits you, don't just react. You respond. You don't crumble. You stand calm. And you don't just survive, you thrive. In our last section, we discovered how staying present in conflict prevents our minds from hijacking us. Now, let's confront the internal triggers that destroy peace, imagined threats, and silent grudges, and learn how to neutralize them in the moment. Point 7. Stop living in the future. Anchor in now, not tomorrow, not after you win the argument. Right now. One of the most common traps we fall into is believing our thoughts are facts. We tell ourselves, if I'm thinking it, it must be true. But the reality, most of what triggers us isn't real. It's imagine. The Stoics understood this well. An untamed mind is the root of unnecessary suffering. Left unchecked, your imagination constructs enemies that don't exist, conjures arguments that never happened, and primes you for conflict before it even arrives. Here's a simple scenario. You enter a conversation with someone you already dislike. You walk in, ready for disrespect, assuming they'll insult you. That tension you feel, it's not coming from their words. It's coming from the future you've already created in your mind. That familiar pulsing in your chest, the tightness, the dread, that's your imagination playing out worst-case scenarios, long before anything occurs. Instead, pause. Stop the fantasy. Bring yourself back into the moment. Either they'll say something rude or they won't. Either way, you'll handle this better with a grounded mind than with a mind hijacked by anxiety. This isn't spiritual fluff, it's a tactical advantage. It keeps your head clear when instinct nudges you toward chaos. And no, you don't need to meditate for hours. You simply need to notice your breath, notice how your feet make contact with the ground, notice the sounds in the room, notice your posture every time your mind drifts into stories, pulling up old wounds. Imagining future slights you, bring it gently back. You train your mind like a muscle to stay rooted in now. Do this, and you'll stop overreacting to things that haven't even happened. Stop replaying past mistakes you can't change. Stop rehearsing what you think you should say. Start responding not from anxiety or fear, but from presence. Here, in this moment, your calm lives. Your power lives. You don't control the past. You don't control the future. But you do control the present moment. And if you can own even 5 breaths of the now, you're not just talking about Stoicism. You're living it. That kind of inner strength. Number one can ever take it from you. 8. Drop the weight of resentment before it ages you. Now, let's talk about another slow killer of peace. Resentment. Resentment isn't just mentally, it physically weighs you down. You've seen it. The man who looks tired even after sleep, because his mind never rests. The one who flinches at kindness, because betrayal taught him to guard his heart. The individual who drags himself through each day, burdened by invisible chains of anger and regret. That's not exhaustion, it's emotional debt. Most men fool themselves into thinking silence equals healing. Just because they stopped talking about what hurt them, doesn't mean they stopped carrying it. That grudge, from years ago, it hasn't disappeared. It lives in your body, your muscle memory, your reactions when someone crosses a tiny line. That's why the Stoics viewed forgiveness not as morality, but as self-preservation. Letting go doesn't mean saying what they did was okay. It doesn't mean forgetting or pretending nothing happened. It means refusing to let that damage continue in your mind, your body, your energy. Every ounce of resentment you carry steals from your peace in the present. It robs you of time, clarity, joy, even health. Epictetus captured this perfectly. You may fetter my leg, they may bind me in chains, but not even Zeus can get the better of my will. That's forgiveness. Not absolving the wrong, but refusing to be shackled from within. The path forward, letting go. So, what do you do when resentment haunts you? Notice when it arises. Feel that pull in your chest, that tightness in your gut, that rush of negative thought. Ask yourself, is this still serving me, or is it stealing from me? Choose to release it, not because you condone what was done, but because you refuse to carry the weight. Breathe in freedom. Feel the lift as you let go. That's emotional cutting. That's unshackling your energy, so it can flow freely against you yourself can grow, unimpeded. In closing, most men never get here. They remain tangled in imagined worlds, or buried in unspoken resentments. But you can operate differently. Today, you learned to anchor in the present, refusing to fight imaginary fights, let go of emotional debt, preserving your energy and peace. This is how you win, not through domination, but through self-mastery. Next, we'll explore the final step, how to reinforce this new mindset every day, turning mental clarity and forgiveness into consistent behaviors that define your life. We've already seen how letting go of resentment and staying present guards your inner peace. Now, let's take it deeper, right into the core moment, where emotion tempts you to lose control, and discover how a single pause can change everything. 9. Drop the weight of past wounds. Let forgiveness liberate you. Think back to a time when someone crossed a line. Maybe they lied, cheated, or embarrassed you in front of others. You promised yourself you'd never forget, and perhaps you haven't. Every time the memory resurfaces, your chest tightens, energy drains, and your peace fades. That's not strength. It's self-inflicted punishment. You're living in a memory long after the person has moved on. Holding on to past pain won't protect you, it weakens you. You think you're shielding yourself, but what you're really doing is weighing yourself down. A Stoic doesn't wear anger like armor. He holds it like scorching coals, and then he lets go, because he knows it burns the bearer more than the cause. Forgiveness isn't about forgetting or trusting again. It's about reclaiming peacemaking, truly precious space in your heart for what matters now: presence, growth, clarity. It begins with one choice. Stop feeding the memory with your attention. Every time you replay the offense, you fuel the wound and keep it alive. Imagine you're in the break room and someone delivers a barbed remark at you. You feel the urge to clap back or replay the insult at home all evening. Or you could do something different: smile. Not because you're weak, but because you're done storing garbage that doesn't belong to you. You breathe. You step away. You drop the weight. That's not passivity. That's power under control. That's clarity over chaos. That's knowing what's worth your energy and what isn't. Single quotes. And when you begin to shed old wounds, you'll notice the transformation. Your posture becomes lighter. Your sleep becomes deeper. Your clarity becomes sharper. Forgiveness is not a gift to them. It's a gift to you. Let go, not for their sake, but so your past stops shadowing your future. Remember, the man who travels light moves faster, breathes fuller, and lives freer. 10. Pause before reacting. Seize the power of the present. Now, here's the final keystone in your Stoic journey, the pause. It might sound small, but trust me, it's powerful. One tone of voice, one harsh word, one snap hand. You're already halfway to losing it. By the time you realize you're angry, the response has already escaped. Most men live on autopilot, pushed by external triggers and dragged by inner strain. In that split second between what happens and how you react, you give away your power. What if that brief moment became the place to take it back? Stoicism begins not when you face the insult, but in the small space between the insult and your reaction. That's the battlefield where you fight for your mind. Imagine someone edges into your lane while driving. Your heart races. You're ready to honk, rage, yell something pointed. But instead, you pause. You breathe deeply. You hold your ground. You say to yourself, do I react like I always do or respond like the man I'm becoming? Most don't even notice that gap. They just explode. Their emotions lead rather than their choices. But you can choose differently. Recognize the spark in your chest. Pause consciously. Breathe slowly. Anchor yourself. I'm choosing how to respond. Suddenly, you're no longer at the mercy of emotion. You guide it. You steer it. That shift, just a single pause, changes everything. That's how you win the unseen war. Not with dominance, but with self-mastery. What's coming next? Now that you've learned to drop past resentment, stay rooted in the present, pause before reacting, you're ready to build on that foundation with real, actionable tools. In the following section, I'll guide you through daily exercises and mental drills to reinforce the pause muscle. Deepen your presence and make calm the default under pressure. Learned how pausing before reacting gives us the power to transform conflict into growth. Now, let's explore how that awareness plays out in real life, and how it anchors our inner strength in the face of everyday challenges. 11. Build awareness and reclaim your power. Once you begin noticing when your emotions start to flare, whether it's a surge of anger, a flush of defensiveness, or a pang of frustration, you quickly realize just how often you've given your power away by reacting too quickly. That awareness is liberating, because once you see it, you can choose differently. Imagine this. You walked into your house after a long day. You're greeted by your teenage son, who, in a challenging moment, snaps back at you. It isn't just the words, it's the attitude, the tone of voice, the eye roll. You feel your chest tighten, your jaw clench, your temper flaring. But then, instead of letting those emotions take the wheel, something holds you back. You catch yourself, you take a steady breath, and you say calmly, "Let me think about that for a moment. We'll talk in a minute." That pause, that moment of intentional restraint, is your power in action. It isn't silence born of fear, it's restraint with purpose. You've just halted a cycle that repeats itself in countless households, and you're consciously choosing to change the narrative. The common belief that delaying your comeback or choosing silence means you're losing control or respect is simply false. That brief hesitation grants you clarity. It gives your rational mind the space it needs to assess the situation. Is this worth responding to? What do I want to achieve? Is my instinct leading me astray? Remember, Marcus Aurelius didn't say don't feel. He said, don't act unless it serves the greater good. That is discipline. 12. Accuracy over speed. We live in a fast-paced world that rewards quick reactions. Respond now. Defend yourself instantly. But emotional discipline isn't about being the fastest responder. It's about being the most accurate. It's not a race, it's a decision-making process under control. To respond effectively, you need to stop and allow the moment to breathe. Breathe deeply yourself to collect your thoughts. Acknowledge the emotions surfacing, whether it's anger, hurt, or disappointment. Ask the critical question, what outcome do I want from this interaction? Choose your words with intention, matching tone and timing to your desired goal, not your immediate reaction. There's wisdom in giving yourself that moment. You slow down your reaction, but you actually increase your effect, because what you say comes from intention, not adrenaline. 13. Command yourself. Don't suppress. The Stoic man isn't cold. He's clear. He's not slow. He's steady. He doesn't deny he feels something. He commands his emotions, allowing them to guide, not control, his actions. When you pause before speaking, you create a supple space between feeling and action. In that space, you gain perspective, and perspective breeds power. Instead of reacting rashly, you decide how you want to present yourself and uphold your character. 14. Use every tense moment as training ground. From this moment forward, treat every tense encounter as training, not trauma. When your heart races from tension, when pride surfaces, when impatience rises, don't push back. Pause. Let the moment unfold. Then allow intention to define your response. Every time you master that moment, you don't just win a battle, you elevate yourself beyond conflicts. You prove that you can't be rattled easily, and that peace is a choice, not a condition. You model discipline over drama, purpose over impulse. The real victory lies not in winning the argument, but in winning yourself in that single, quiet moment. You prove you're not slave to your emotions, you're a leader of them. 15. You're not a prisoner of emotion. You may not realize it, But this frees you from a chain you've been living with your entire life. You're not bound to anger, resentment, or impulsive reactions. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus understood this deeply. Calm is earned through adversity. Self-control isn't about masking emotions, it's about discipline. Peace isn't weakness, it's power sharpened in silence. Let's recap. Anger is a self-reinforcing habit that can be unlearned. Strength comes from mastering early impulses. Emotional calm is built like muscles through daily exercises. Letting go isn't surrender, it's wisdom. Staying present is your strongest defense. Each moment of tension offers a pause to shape yourself. This is not theory, it's a lived reality. In how you navigate conversations with your partner, hold your place in boardrooms, walk through daily irritations, defend your values, you create your life, and each moment becomes an opportunity to practice excellence. The more you practice, the more automatic it becomes. Before long, you internalize this discipline. You're no longer triggered by every breeze, you become untouchable. 16. Start now. Your new mind begins today, so here's your mission. If you choose to accept it, begin with today. Train your breath. Hold it steady under stress. Hold your words. Speak only when you've centered yourself. Master your pause. Let it be your gateway to intentional action. Build a mind that can't be shaken by whatever is out of your control. One that chooses rather than reacts. One that stands firm even when everything pushes the other way. 17. Share. Reflect. Grow. If this message resonates, let me know. Share your moment of calm or confession in the comments below. What situation recently tested your self-control? How did you choose to pause instead of react? What did you learn after you held back? We grow by reflecting, and by helping others reflect. Because the man who masters his thoughts, reactions, and energy is the man who truly owns his life. And that kind of strength, it endures. 18. Next up, from theory to daily action, what's coming next? A set of practical exercises, mini routines and mental drills you can weave into everyday. Not when you're calm, but before the heat hits. We're building the mental muscle for unshakable calm. So when real life tests you, and it will, you don't just survive, you thrive.